Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are spearheading a radical effort to dismantle federal regulations as leaders of the newly established Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, created by President-elect Donald Trump. As detailed in Tami Luhby's November 28, 2024 CNN article, Musk and Ramaswamy cite recent Supreme Court rulings, West Virginia v. Environmental Protection Agency, 2022, and Loper Bright Enterprises v. Raimondo, 2024, as legal justification for their sweeping agenda. They argue these decisions expose many federal regulations as exceeding Congress's intended authority, claiming the rulings provide the executive branch with new power to suspend and repeal these rules. However, legal experts contend this interpretation is flawed and warn that such a radical overhaul is fraught with legal, procedural, and ethical obstacles. In a co-authored Wall Street Journal op-ed, Musk and Ramaswamy frame their agenda as a bold liberation of the economy, pledging to identify and pause enforcement of regulations they deem illicit. They assert this approach will stimulate innovation and reduce bureaucratic interference in the private sector. Yet, experts like Nicholas Bagley, an administrative law professor at the University of Michigan, argue these Supreme Court rulings constrain regulatory agencies rather than empower the executive branch to bypass due process. The decisions require clearer congressional mandates for major regulatory actions, but do not grant carte blanche for dismantling existing rules. To overturn regulations, agencies must navigate the rigorous requirements of the Administrative Procedure Act, APA, including providing justifications, holding public comment periods, and defending their actions in court. This process, designed to ensure transparency and accountability, is both time-consuming and resource-intensive. Musk and Ramaswamy's simultaneous push to shrink the federal workforce adds another layer of contradiction, as the personnel needed to analyze, revise, or repeal regulations would be significantly reduced. James Broghel, a senior fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute, notes that without experienced staff to handle the intricacies of regulatory frameworks, such efforts are unlikely to succeed. This isn't the first time a presidential administration has pledged to slash regulations, but history suggests such ambitions are often more rhetorical than substantive. During Trump's first term, regulatory rollbacks focused primarily on slowing the introduction of new rules rather than dismantling existing ones, largely due to the same procedural barriers Musk and Ramaswamy now face. The legal and administrative complexities of repealing regulations make sweeping deregulation more of a symbolic gesture than a practical reality. Critics have also raised concerns about the ethical implications of Musk and Ramaswamy's leadership of DOGE. Both are deeply entrenched in industries that stand to benefit from reduced regulatory oversight. Musk, whose ventures include Neuralink, Tesla, and SpaceX, has frequently expressed frustration with the regulatory process, calling it an impediment to innovation. Similarly, Ramaswamy, a biotech entrepreneur, has positioned himself as an anti-regulation crusader. Their dual roles as regulators and beneficiaries of deregulation invite scrutiny over potential conflicts of interest, undermining public trust in their intentions. Beyond logistical and ethical challenges, the broader consequences of their radical deregulation agenda could be far-reaching. Weakening regulatory safeguards threatens to erode protections for the environment, workplace safety, and consumer rights. By prioritizing corporate interests over public accountability, Musk and Ramaswamy risk exacerbating inequality and dismantling critical protections that underpin democratic governance. In a historical context, the push for deregulation mirrors the neoliberal shifts of the late 20th century, which prioritized market freedom over regulatory oversight. While initially hailed as a driver of economic growth, this approach often led to financial crises, environmental degradation, and growing inequality. The Musk-Ramaswamy initiative threatens to repeat these patterns on a larger scale, aligning with a global trend of populist leaders undermining institutional norms under the guise of economic liberation. As DOGE's agenda unfolds, the tension between its radical ambitions and the practical realities of governance becomes increasingly clear. Musk and Ramaswamy's rhetoric of economic empowerment may resonate with some, but the procedural and ethical challenges coupled with the broader societal risks paint a far more complicated picture. Ultimately, their initiative represents not just an attack on regulations, but a profound reimagining of the role of government, one that could reshape the balance of power between public accountability and private interest, with potentially destabilizing consequences for American democracy. Please subscribe to the Intellectualist's new YouTube channel, where we present insightful videos analyzing the current events shaping the world. Turn on notifications to receive the latest updates from the channel.